You're listening to the Republic Broadcasting Network, because you can handle the truth.
Okay. Well, we made it. It's the second hour of a very quick show. I'm Steve O'Brien. I can't even get my own name right. And you're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. And I've got John Jarnecke, President of the Republic of Texas, on the line, and Alan Crutcher, just another wonderful human being out there. So we were talking about last week's show and Frankie Nieto and all his thoughts as he goes into running for the House seat in the Republic of Texas. So the second issue, John, I think we talked about decorum just right before we hit the top of the hour, and we do have a long segment here, and we can push back on the next little chunk. The next bit that I'd like to talk about is, well, Frankie said that opening with a prayer is not constitutional, and he'd like to see that changed. I don't know if I agree with that or disagree with that. And actually, I can go both ways on that particular one. But I did have a conversation with you, and you think that, well, it is totally constitutional, and there's no reason to change it? Or where do you stand on that subject?
Well, I stand is the Republic of Texas was established in a Christian manner. There is provision to have a chaplain appointed, which I did appoint, and since the Republic of Texas was established as a Christian nation, I feel very strongly that meetings should be open with a prayer, and I have no problem with that whatsoever. And also closed with a prayer. That is my strong feeling, and I will certainly stick to it. Anyone, whatever the religion happens to be, is welcome to be a citizen of the Republic of Texas. That is not a problem. Mm-hmm. If they run for office, they will have to take the oath, and which includes, so help me Almighty God. And if they're not willing to take that oath, then they will not be in office. But they're more than willing or more than welcome to join the political process as a voter, voice their opinions. That's fine. But I do not believe that anything that is in that referring to the Almighty God should ever be changed or what's the word I'm looking for?
Amended?
Or made, what's that?
Amended? No.
Well, not amended, but I don't think that that process should ever be changed, and nothing to take away from the way that the Republic of Texas was established. All other religions are welcome, and that's not a problem. But they're not going to change the way things are done. And case in point, I guess, would be people from New York, or I know you're from California, but people want to come to Texas to get away from wherever the things that happened where they were, and then they get here and they want to change them to just what they left. I can't go along with that at all.
That infuriates the heck out of me. They move this quaint little communities and they change it into what they left, what they were trying to get away from. That just drives me crazy.
Yes. We've got to make sure that never happens. And the people have got to, when they elect someone, they have got to get over the apathy and hold the people's feet to the fire that they elect, and make sure they do the right thing. That's the way it is. You can't go against the Constitution as it's written just because you think something ought to be a little bit different. You've still got the law and the rules of the Constitution to go by, and that's it. We're going for a limited national government. The power should be locally, but to a point. As long as they don't try to go against the Constitution and the way it is written, everything will be fine.
Say, Alan, hey, so what are your thoughts? Frankie thinks that the prayer is out of scope and it shouldn't be done, and we both know. Go ahead.
This is a subject that we could talk for days on. We all know this, about how religion has been used to control the masses. John, you and I were raised Lutheran. If Steve was Baptist, we'd be going to hell because we drink and we dance.
Yeah.
It keeps us at each other's throats, so we can't all come together and say, we just want you're just like me. You want what's best for your family, for you and your family, your everyone around you. Most people, I like to think, still have some basic goodness in them. And that's what the Christian values that are. You talk about the Christian morals and everything. That's just human morals. Most people, there are the ones who are in power now, are obviously opposite of us, as far as it can be, I think. And we just want basically what's right. We all believe that there's something out there, that created all of us, and there's got to be something out there. We didn't just pop out of a blink of a great bang or whatever. It's a very complicated situation when you start bringing Christianity and praying to a particular God. If we're going to be the Republic of Texas, why could we not swear on the Constitution of the Republic instead of on the Bible? Because Steve, the guy you had on last weekend, I'm sure he practices the Muslim faith, and he sounds like a very nice, decent person. But we all know that there are Muslims out there who are not, and it's just like with the Catholic priest molesting little boys. We can't say it doesn't happen in the Protestant church. There are so many. Everyone's an individual. I can't say that I believe exactly how John believes in his heart as to what's out there, what created us. No one can say that any two people have the exact same feeling inside of them. Yeah, that you can stand up, that you can go, sit in a church and have someone tell you what you believe, when we all know that what we feel inside is not what this guy is actually talking about, but we go along to get along. And, why can't we just be decent people, go for a common goal instead of a common God, because no one's going to have the same common God. I'm sorry, yeah. I just don't believe that's possible.
Think that, well, you're right, we can. That's why we talk about it a little bit, and we don't fight about it, and we'll work it out. We'll work it out. The Republic of Texas does not discriminate against any religion, right? It doesn't matter. This is about a voluntary organization that we join, right? We become a part of it. Some people are registered as Texians, and, that brings me to my third point, right, that Frankie brought up. And I don't think we expanded too much about it. And I was privy to a conversation between you and Frankie Nieto, where you talked a little bit about Frankie's desires to peel off Gillespie County from Travis County. John, can you tell us the process of, taking the 1846 county map and, let's say we wanted to form Gillespie County. What is that process? And, you tell me what you told Frankie the other day.
Well, the process within the Constitution is once there are 100 souls that have signed the affidavit of citizenship as a Texian, that 100 people can petition the national government for a breakaway county. And that's what I envision will happen as things go along, because we are so used to the existing counties as we know them now what is shown on the maps in 1845 for Humongous County. Take Bexar County, for example. It goes from below San Antonio all the way up to Wyoming territory. The individual counties will have to be broken down to manageable states where the people in the locality have the control, of their individual counties. In Gillespie County, I would assume we're probably getting at least halfway there. But it has to be that petition to break away out of Travis County into Gillespie County.
How do you see
Travis
that petition?
County still exists, and it will.
How do you see that petition? Would that be a piece of paper with everybody's John Hancock? Well, I don't like that word. Signature on it?
Yes, that is the petition. That the Texian citizens within that particular county, as long as there is at least 100. I mean, this was written back in 1836, so obviously we have higher population in every area of Texas, but as long as it is still in the Constitution that 100 people can vote for that or petition for it, that's what the Constitution says, so that's what we can do. And I think it's great because we can get more varied representation within the House of Representatives, within the Senate, as far as our judicial. The smaller you have, the easier it is to manage it.
I know there was some different things that Frankie was really concerned with. And I'm forgetting one of them, and I can't find my actual notes. But maybe I can divert you real quickly before I get you off the phone there. And you saw the crawl, and I was trying to find this information about the Texas legislature planning for Texas secession next year or something like that, how they're going to leave the United States with permission or something. You saw the crawl. What day was that? Was that like Tuesday or Monday?
I think it was either Monday or Tuesday. My wife and I were watching the Austin News, and I wasn't familiar with that term, crawl, but it's like a ticker tape at the low end of the screen, and it said that it will be brought up within the state legislature to put on a ballot for the people to vote to secede from the United States. Well, obviously, the people that wrote that and the ones that are thinking secession are not aware of all the things that we know about not having to secede because of the illegalities of the annexation. But it's a start. It gets things out there for the people to see. It's
right.
Kind of goes back to the this fellow that did this petition several years ago, and that it was 150,000 or so that the petition for Texas to get out. The more we keep this type of thing in the limelight, and the more that people become upset with what goes on in Washington, D.C., the better off we're all going to be as far as getting our independence, whichever way it happens to go. You are certainly privy to a lot of what we're doing on the international basis, and that's our shot. There are other so-called freedom groups within Texas. Several of them recognize what we're doing is the legitimate way to go about it, but it's all of them, whoever they are still keeping things in the light as far as Texas needing to get away from the United States of America.
Right, I know. And while I was searching for information to verify what you saw on the ticker tape, as you call it, I didn't find anything, but that doesn't mean that it's not there. But I did come across one of those other groups that like to talk about Free Texas, and that would be the Texas Nationals. That's texnot.org or whatever. And those guys, they feel that we can work within the system to change the system, and they're trying to promote working through the system to fix the system. And Alan, it sounds a lot like Farley. So what they're doing is they're trying to get the Republican Party to put on their run a non-binding thing in the Republican Party to pass this little thing to say that Texas needs to be free. Then we're going to be free, Alan. How do you like that one?
If you think that they are going to let you use their system to free yourself and pull your economic and whatever base that you want to talk about out of their system, good luck.
I know.
Using their system, we all know it's corrupt. The voting system is, our presidential ballots are counted in Spain, my God. I mean, it's just, just the complete insanity of what's really going on under what most people, hear on what they call news is just amazing. People's true history, the history that we were taught in school and everything was so boring. I've figured out now that most of that was, I'll try to refrain from getting really colorful with my language here, was a lie. The true history is really amazing, what really went on. It's very interesting. Try to find different sources because it's really interesting what has gone on in our past. Some of it's scary as hell, but it's really interesting.
Well, as you look at the democratic system, if we were to quote, leave the United States and leave this, the tentacles of the United States on top and governing Texas, that would be a bad move. It's like making a mini United States, with the same controls and the same laws and all that other stuff. And, it's kind of scary. And, they don't actually tell the truth, and the votes are rigged. Blackboxvoting.org. Go check it out for yourself. It doesn't matter who you vote for. It's who counts the votes. Who said that previously?
No, that was Stalin.
How was it?
Yeah, he was a great humanitarian, right?
Yeah,
that's right. Cookies for the masses, and then bullets for the best.
Him and old Pod, and Mao Zedong. Oh, yeah, they were great people.
About a year ago, I had sent an email to Tex Mars, who I think probably most of the listeners on RBN are familiar with his name. He has written several books. I sent an email to him about taking on writing the true history of Texas, which would be a very long book because there are a whole lot of things that have never been covered in history books, at least in the public education system. My suggested title for it would be Texas, the Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And people, children, everyone should know every facet of the history of Texas, the good, the bad, and the ugly. It's a fact throughout history that in a conflict, the victor is the one that writes the history. And that's what's projected in our schools today, and that's not good. People don't know the other side.
How serendipitous is that? Hey, Alan, tell them about Tex Mars.
Tex Mars, he's a great author. He comes around to, the Jews are at the top of everything, and that might very well be, but as long as John likes to kid me, my girlfriends, as he calls them, Renee and Francis and Lauren, get on the radio, and that's pretty much it. It's not going to be, Amschel and Meyer Rothschild that comes knocking on your door to, get his exactions from you, or kick you off your land. It's going to be one of your local good old boys.
But Tex Mars is coming to Austin, right?
Jim Mars is going to be.
Jim Mars. I thought it was Tex.
That's who. I'm sorry, I said Tex and I meant Jim.
Yeah, Jim Mars. Yeah, he's I want to go meet him. He's an interesting character.
There's the music. Hang on. We got a few more minutes to go through the commercials. You're listening to Republic Broadcasting. I'm Steve O'Brien.
Recent events have shown just how vulnerable we are to deadly viruses, bacteria, and fungus. These diseases are all caused by infectious pathogens that often get the upper hand on conventional medical treatments. Now more than ever, there's a great need for a product that will help protect us. Look no further. Supernatural Silver can provide immune system support to help fight off these deadly pathogens. Supernatural Silver is a new and vastly improved type of silver solution that's safe and extremely effective against 143 types of bacteria, both forms of viruses, mold, and yeast. Supernatural Silver can be taken orally or used topically and can be used in a nebulizer or vaporizer for inhalation. With over 180 scientific studies by independent universities, hospitals, and research institutions, Supernatural Silver is a powerful weapon against disease. Go to supernaturalsilver.com and use the promo code SILVER2014 for 20% off your entire order. Give you and your loved ones a fighting chance with Supernatural Silver.
There are many water filters to choose from, but there is only one system that is consistently customer rated 5 stars as the #1 system for effective filtration of fluoride, radiation, drug residues, heavy metals, a wide range of radioisotopes, and more. Introducing the Pure Effect Ultra, the next generation water filter that also raises alkaline pH, improves antioxidant potential, and has advanced anti-radiation technology, all while using no electricity. Sold worldwide, it provides virtually instant clean water on demand. It is not made in China, and the shipping is free to all 50 states. Buy your Pure Effect Ultra today by visiting pureeffectfilters.com. or call 888-891-4821. Again, that's 888-891-4821. Or visit pureeffectfilters.com.
Hi, my name is David Merlin from takefromcaesar.us. Income is defined in the tax code. All property is a cost, including labor, according to statute. You're deprived of the provisions of Section 83 whenever you pay an income tax on your compensation. According to Section 83, only the excess over the amount paid is gross income. The government can't so much as provide an interpretation of Section 83 of its own. Get your paradigm shift and understanding today at takefromcaesar.us.
Now there's an amazing new natural antibiotic every person must have. It's Cells Alive Silver Solution, and it destroys over 650 hard-to-kill viruses, fungus, bacteria, and much more. Cells Alive Silver Solution has no expiration date, is great for emergency kits and storage shelters, and comes in 8 or 16-ounce bottles. Order today at 888-910-4367 or visit hempusa.org. Hempusa.org, 100% chemical-free superfoods and unique health products.
Okay. So wonderful things do happen. Other people screw up names, and I'm kind of blessed by that, and maybe I'm actually wrong. We were just talking with John Jarnecke and Alan Crutcher. I'm Steve OBrien, host of the Republic of Texas Radio, and we were talking about Tex Mars, who's really not Tex Mars, he's Jim Mars, and how John Jarnecke was trying to reach out to him to write the true history of Texas, which, you know, we don't kind of get in history books in the schools, and definitely ain't getting them in the schools. And I was pointing out to Alan that, well, he's going to be in Austin coming up here. God, I believe it's in a couple weeks. Is that right, Alan?
1st and the 2nd of August, yeah. I believe Saturday and Sunday is going to be at Brave New Books in Austin.
You want to go, John?
Well, you know, that sounds like a worthwhile deal to meet him in person and make the suggestion in person.
Yeah, we can get funny looking hats or something.
I already wear one, according to most people.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right. You do have a strange hat, but that's okay. So yeah, maybe we'll do that as a road trip. We'll talk about it as things go on. Hey, let me keep you till the bottom of the hour, and thanks for hanging on so long, John. But can you actually expand and tell me a little bit about the Dr. David Krupa and Susie Kamek, the case going on? Can you help just close that for me, or at least touch on it for now?
Well, yeah, I'm due to meet with Doc Krupa, Justice Doc Krupa, later this afternoon. He is meeting with his lawyer in Kerrville, and he asked me to go along just to see what the deal is. after the fact, there was found that there was a statute that was put in Texas state law back in the McLaren era of time, back in 97, which was specifically against the Republic of Texas. And I feel, and I'm no lawyer, and God, I hope nobody ever accuses me of that, that the way they went after Doc and Susie was somebody dug up that particular statute, and that's what they were trying to nail them on, where you can't do or say anything against the state of Texas by anybody in the Republic of Texas. So it'll be interesting how this all plays out. I think that Doc, probably more than Susie, has a higher worry degree than what Susie does as far as how everything's going to play out. And after the conversation with Doc's lawyer this afternoon, I'm sure we'll have a better handle on how things are going. But
hey, I'd like to add something real quick before you finish it off. Just because Susie Kamek is actually taking things more mentally better, this woman has been going through 10 years of fighting the legal system over what an ex-loved one did to her, right? Theft on a massive scale. She's financially just distraught. Right, she has no money. She needs money. They have lawyers. They have attorneys. And these people, well, they should be paid for their work. We need to go to rtlegalfund.com, or you can go to thetexasrepublic.com and scroll down a little bit on the right in the Friends of the Republic column, and you can click on that. That'll bring you over to the GoFundMe account for the Republic of Texas Legal Fund. They need your support. It's crucial that we give them our support. We should really be focusing. I want to have a bake sale, cookie sale, some kind of sale, but, I don't want to get a license to sell stuff. It's, whatever. Sorry, I'm kind of wound up about this.
Neighbors need to take care of neighbors. We need to help. Most of you out there don't know me from Adam, but I can tell you that these are good people. They've got good hearts. You might not agree with everything that they're trying to do or the way they're going about it, but they are at least trying to do something, and they are good people.
Yeah, that's good saying. I don't know. It just gets me all wound up. In closing, you got anything else for us there, John? Music's coming up in a second.
Okay, well, I have a suggestion for Alan before I lose my train of thought, that he'd ought to put his Opa's book on a books on tape.
It sounds like a good idea.
I would have to get in touch with the publishing company about that, but that might work.
Okay, hang on. Thanks for joining us, John. See you in a minute.
You're welcome. Okay, anytime.
Hold on, Alan.
You are tuned in to the Republic Broadcasting Network. Visit our website by going to republicbroadcasting.org.
The IRS is a private corporation, not a government agency. Income tax is collected by voluntary compliance. To learn to unvolunteer or discontinue volunteering into the IRS, visit escapeharassment.com and immediately implement Strategy 1. The process must be repeated each and every time. Paper, letter, envelope, presentment, etc. Always and forever. Failure equates to acceptance, subsequent resultant contract, and you pay or go to jail by your own consent and agreement contract. Avoid recontracting. Visit escapeharassment.com and implement Strategy 1 immediately. Bar lawyers and accountants won't help you. Why wait? Get Strategy 1 and immediately implement it to divorce the IRS today and forever. That's escapeharassment.com, Strategy 1, to be free from the IRS. escapeharassment.com.
Has your dancing and romancing done gone away? Are you moaning and a-groaning from the stresses of the day? Are you reeling and a-peeling 'cause a headache's on the way? Well, relax for just a moment. Stress relief is on the way. Of what am I speaking, you ask? The essential oils of long historic use, the wisdom of the ages, the health care of the ancients, frankincense, myrrh, hyssop, and hundreds of others too numerous to mention. What could be more appealing? Do you know that Young Living Essential Oils is an element of life that makes them extremely effective in body rejuvenation? This element is called vibration, and it works with body systems, not against them. The professionals at Divine Living Oils have tested and been so impressed with this product that we are using them to help others. And who are we? We are health professionals with many years' experience. Trust us, we have seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. Our motto, because we care about you. Do your health and spirit a great favor. Call us at 304-542-4226. That's 304-542-4226. Again, that's 304-542-4226.
Wouldn't it be nice to have one product that replaces more than 10, saving you space, time, and money? HempUSA.org has a complete full-spectrum vitamin mineral detox formulation called Micro Plant Powder Gold. Micro Plant Powder Gold contains 101 vitamins, minerals, probiotics, and iodine. Has a 100-year shelf life and is a perfect addition to any storage shelter. Make Micro Plant Powder Gold your choice. Call 888-910-4367 or visit HempUSA.org today.
Come to Finca Baiano, a small community in Panama, which is being established for people who believe that a future crisis may be difficult to survive in North America after a collapse of the system. Go to bugoutpanama.com for more information. There is limited space for 100 people only. Go to bugoutpanama.com to immigrate as long as you can. Prepare. Don't despair at bugoutpanama.com.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture, Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Oh, yeah. So we made it to the top of the bottom of the hour. I'm your host, Steve O'Brien, and you're listening to the Republic of Texas radio show. I've got Alan Crutcher on the line, and we're talking about stuff and things. We were talking about the Republic of Texas, Susie Kamek and Dr. David Krupa, and a legal thingy. But we're going to shift gears right now, and I tried to get a hold of my guest again, and well, they're kind of busy right now, so I'm going to tell the story. But we're going to be talking Jade Helmet, or Jade Helm, whatever you want to call it, and what's going on with that. You know, we've been dealing with it for months now. I remember when it first came out, and, you know, what's going on right now? What do you think, Alan? What's going on?
Well, you know, I haven't seen that much just direct evidence in my face. I have heard that there are some ranches out here in the hill country that have operations, drills, whatever you want to call them, going on. I have not been able to verify that, so I'm not going to say yes or no.
Yeah.
All I know is that if I, like I said, I watch information from all around the world. You know, I've got this satellite system, and I can see things from Vietnam to the Middle East to Kazakhstan to, you know, Venezuela, and it's the same thing basically coming in. Everything is becoming more militarized. Actually, some places like Russia appear to be actually gaining more freedom than as we're losing ours. And I watch Kazakhstan industrializing as we're deindustrializing. Strange things going on.
It is.
Keep your eyes open, keep your ears open, pay attention to what goes on around you, and store it back in your memory. So when something comes up that can corroborate it a little bit more or dispel it a little bit more, you can get a little better picture of what the truth might be out there.
Right, and I like to, I remember, so Jade Helms, this little thingy, right, it was put out, and I guess it was several months ago, and the U.S. said, we're doing a training exercise. Hey, folks, here you go. See, look, here are going to be the bad guys. It's going to be Texas. It's going to be New Mexico. It's going to be blah, 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 blah. And they added all these different things, and then it's hostile territory, and they're going to be doing drills, and they'll have soldiers and live fire exercises and crazy shenanigans, and everybody goes, Texas don't like it. And I thought that was very curious because I remember the first time I heard about it, this guy named Alex Jones, he's kind of, everybody knows who Alex Jones is. Well, not really everybody, but a lot of people do. He says on like a Wednesday show, he says, Jade Helm. And then on Thursday, somebody, one of my neighbors comes over to me and he says, did you hear the U.S. military's, invading Texas? And I go, you listened to Alex Jones, didn't you? Yeah, well, he's all, no. I said, well, who did you hear that from? But it's true. I said, who'd you hear that from? But it's true. And I go, well, did you listen to Alex Jones? No. And well, you're not going to answer the dang question. All you're saying is it's true, but where'd you get the information? That's kind of one of the tricky things. But that continued in my life, at least. I kept bumping into people, and they said, well, did you hear about the U.S. invading Texas? And I'm kind of going like, you listen to Alex Jones? And because originally it did come from, I guess Alex was the first point that I heard it resonating from. I should probably say that. I won't point to him as being the, release agent, release person, release source, whatever you want to call it.
Whatever he is, right.
Yeah. All I'll say is I remember hearing it from Alex first as an individual. And, man, I've had so many people come up to me before Jade Helm started on the 15th of July. And they were sitting there, talking to me about it and asking me what I knew about it. And I'm kind of going, funny. Why did you just come up to me or find me or try to dig me up or call me just to talk about Jade Helm? Are you scared? And I understand that, right? They'll call us many names, and they call us kooks, they call us conspiracy theorists, even though we're just showing them facts, man. It's like, wow, you guys follow the words.
But
so that's
Steve
been...
knows as well as I do, you can have declassified government documents in your hand or corporate white papers that have gotten out, various things, their objectives, and hold it right in front of people, and they'll look up at this guy and say, is it going to rain today?
Mm-hmm.
Because they're scared. They're scared that if they accept one thing that you're proposing to them, if they accept that as the truth, then they've got to start accepting that maybe some of the other crazy conspiracy theory crap that people say is conspiracy theory crap might be not crap.
Yeah. I mean, take Govern America, Darren Week's show. All he talks about is Agenda 21. And it's very matter of fact.
It's
right?
everywhere.
It's 10,000 pages of how they're going to take over and control the world. And that was their agenda. And they're still working on that agenda. But Darren comes on, I believe he's at 10 to 1 time slot on RBN. Right. And he's been talking about it for years. He's been on all sorts of, various networks before Republic Broadcasting. But, if I try to talk to somebody about even Agenda 21, that's a conspiracy theory, but it's real.
Even though I've got the document printed off, you have to know how to read it to understand what it's saying. But yes, I've got it. You know that.
Right. And so, when we deal with things like this, and now what we're dealing with is Jade Helm, which is a bunch of doublespeak, and there's been some disinformation thrown in the mix. They've redefined or defined Jade Helm. So Jade is joint blah, 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 and it's some computer software program, and, Helm is supposed to be like homeland eradication of militants and some dang thing, and I can't find any kind of direct evidence towards that. And one of the broadcasters that was previously on Republic Broadcasting, Dave Hodges, I believe, is the source of the definition of jade and helm being broken down to a computer program trying to eradicate local militants.
I've heard it, but also that it involves, the Chinese as the jade and the helm is, the helmet coming down, and yeah, it's kind of like we didn't win the Second World War, the Japanese did, and the aliens are little mutant Japanese in blimps.
It's all whack-a-mole, right? They throw all these different things out, but what can we see? What can we feel here in Gillespie County? Like you say, what you have is conjecture from somebody that you had a conversation with, and them telling you, hey, look out 290, go over here, take a look, they're there. And I heard that as the ramp up to July 15th. One of my neighbors, a different neighbor, came over and he said, man, you know what's going on? And he's like, I went over to a customer's site, out in, I believe it was Doss, and he was showing me this video of all the tanks and, troops that were moving on his neighbor's property. And he said he filmed that himself. And I'm kind of like going, wow, that's interesting. And I could see he was freaked out. And he goes, well, what's going on? And I think that I don't know. Maybe they're just desensitizing us. Maybe they're going to invade. Maybe it's something else like that. Who knows? Why would they invade something they already have? Huh?
Right.
I don't know.
In this area, sometimes it's kind of hard to tell because, we've got Fort Hood to the north of us, and we've got Lackland Air Force Base and all those bases, air bases down in San Antonio. And we've got black helicopters and, C-5 transports and all kinds of C-130s, everything flying all around us all the time. It makes me kind of nervous when I get my binoculars out and see, rounds in the chain guns, out on the pods and little tips of missiles in the rocket pods, which I'm not sure that they're supposed to be flying around with unless they're on a base. But things make me nervous, but I notice things, and I guess a lot of people don't. But, it's we had our little invite a pilot to lunch program out here at the local airport.
Invite a pilot to lunch program. Yeah, I heard about that. It was like you fly in and we'll pay for your food.
Yeah, so there's Blackhawks and Apaches and everything come in. Yeah,
isn't that cute? They get free food and we pay for the gas. Is that the way it works?
Oh yeah, they get a $10 lunch and it takes them $2,000 to fly down here.
No, that's economy of scale. Whoa, that's crazy. But hey, so check this one out. Got a new report, I believe it was yesterday, from a very trusted source, and it's a rock solid source. In Walmart, all of a sudden walk through the doors and boom, there's military folk. There's 3 of them in, desert camo, and none of them have tags on. Actually, they described a shield with swords, and I go, that sounds like Jade Helm. They're not they've never really looked at Jade Helm. They've just heard it on the sidelines, so I really don't know. And I haven't started quizzing too much on it. That was kind of leave that for the show to eat up peel back the onion, as I say. But anyway, so this is Walmart Friday afternoon, and they walk in the store, and, there's military folks everywhere. And it's kind of like, there's 3 over here, there's a couple over there, and then walk back to the electronics portion of the whole thing. And, as they walked back there's a couple other ones wearing some kind of a blue camouflage, and they're looking at movies because maybe they need a distraction from whatever the heck is going on.
Blue camouflage, that's like European.
Yeah, it's something, but they were picking up movies and so forth, and then you pan left from the electronics area because, next to the electronics area and all the movies, they have this area called the sporting goods. Well, we call them guns and ammo, and they have a small collection of guns and some ammunition. And there was a whole pile of Walmarters just standing around with little pieces of paper in their hand, and I believe it was like 15, 20 people. 15, 20 people don't work the gun desk, but they're all standing around the firearms and, reading this piece of paper, and, I don't know. I don't know what was going on Friday, but the way it was described to me is, well, all the people in the desert camo were probably about 20 years old, could be even 18 years old, kids, just kids. And the ones in the blue uniforms, they were older, and they were seasoned looking, and they were enjoying looking at movies. So I know that that's real. I don't know if it's related, right? What does it all mean? I don't know. We'll see as it goes along, but it seems like some kind of an indoctrination.
Yeah, that's one of those things you have to take to heart and just file it back in your memory. And, if something else comes up that could, connect to that, then you've got a little better idea of what the truth might be.
And we've got some time left in this little, boondoggle called, what do they call it? Jade Helm? Okay. Whatever. Military folks, I know you want to play with your guns. Well, or use your guns. You're going to go take over another country. By the time Jade Helm actually ends, it would be interesting to see if the United States of America, the corporate United States, actually invades another country. Hey, Alan, tell me about that. Are we, preparing, or we as being the corporate U.S. preparing to attack anybody at this current time?
Well, we don't have to attack everyone. We've got bases in almost every country on this planet. I mean, it's insanity, no, sure, I see, over in Africa where, where UN troops are being ambushed and attacked because the people know what they're doing and they're fighting back against it. But you don't, I see a lot of video. Of course, I can't understand a lot of the different languages I hear, but I can watch video and I have to use my own brain to try to figure out what's going on. And, like I said, I've become an information sponge. Somehow I can file this stuff back in my head, and I can pull it back up if a situation arises. I'm not saying I'm the brightest person out there. I know I'm not. But, one thing about, military, what do? The first thing, they bring you into boot camp. They break you down physically and mentally, so you're not the person that you were when you went in, and they turn you into what they want you to be. Whether that's through the use of MK Ultra and Naomi and Artichoke and all the various stuff that was in the 70s that we know about, what they have going now, who knows? You remember in the first Gulf War about the Royal Guard or whatever Saddam's troops, popping up out of their foxholes and surrendering to kitchen crews and things.
Yeah, what was that, huh?
I would say frequency weapons.
Right.
I see over in Russia here in the vast out in the wilds of Russia. Where they're investigating these giant sinkholes that are like perfectly round and the sides look almost like they've been melted and, smooth. Can I say what it is? No, but I know that there are space platforms up there that have technology that would blow my mind, and I even got an idea of what some of it might entail, some of the technology involved. But, if little, redneck me sitting here can think of things, if I had a team of scientists and all the funding I needed in the labs, I could probably develop some pretty wicked stuff.
Yeah, probably so. But the corporate United States of America, or the America, as a lot of people like to call it, they wouldn't keep secrets from anybody, would they? No. Surely they wouldn't put out vaccines that cause any damage to our children. Oh, no.
And have no liability whatsoever for any of it. No.
Truth in advertising, truth in lying, I guess. Well, no, lies in truthing. I don't know.
You know that the one protection that we did supposedly have against propaganda by our own government against us was dropped, just recently here, in the past year or something, hadn't it? I forgot what the name of that act was. I
heard about that. But they don't follow the rules.
It's not even illegal for them to just come out and blatantly lie to us, like they haven't been already, but now it's legal for them to do it.
Your OPA, said that word progress a few times in that thing. And I just wonder if that was a Edward Bernays influence on that whole part of culture as they were trying to ram all the social programs down the throat during the first Great Depression, because he went through the Federal Reserve System and he went through the Great Depression, where they put all these social programs,
property taxes, income tax coming in. Oh yeah, he saw all that, and he, once again, my OPA, he didn't like what he saw coming in, but you heard his opinion. Well, I guess I'm just going to have to adjust to it. And in my way of thinking, that's kind of like evil succeeds when good men do nothing. That kind of allows the whole thing to perpetuate and just keep snowballing to the point it's gotten now. I've been fairly quiet. I talk to everyone I come in contact with, but as far as an international audience, no, I've never been out there before. But if this world's getting to the point of where I really don't want to. Basically, I don't like living in the world that's around me now, and I really sure as hell don't want to live in the world that's coming. I know that. So
right.
if I get taken out, it's what do I not saying what do I have to lose, but I want more, not the Depression, but, the 50s and 60s. Leave it to Beaver. Father Knows Best. My Three Sons, do
that without Eddie, right?
Without Eddie Haskell, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. Eddie seems to be dominant in our society right now. The two-faced rat stabbing,
He's in charge. Steve, I'll get off here and let you finish your show out.
Okay, I'll finish my show out. Thanks for joining us, Alan.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Okay. We'll be right back, folks.
Extendivite really works. Here is what people are saying.
I have a testimony about how wonderful heart drops are. I ended up at Mayo Clinic, just had an awful time with angina and related problems to my heart problem. I remembered that I'd run out of heart drops and had reordered. And when I started taking them again, all these problems went away, and I just want to say how great these heart drops are. I'd recommend them to anyone.
I had my last heart attack in August, and I was having some form of angina pain pretty well every day. And then since I started taking it, I haven't had any angina pain at all. I'm satisfied.
To get your Extendivite, call 1-877-928-8822 or visit heartdrop.com.
Extend your life with Extendivite.
Dr. Joel Wallach, author of the famous health lecture Dead Doctors Don't Lie, presents his newest book, Epigenetics. Epigenetics is required reading for the very survival of Americans, and yes, all of humanity. Modern man has bet on the wrong horse to save them from disease and pestilence. The medical system has failed us fearfully. Join the health revolution. Buy Epigenetics today and receive a free membership to purchase all the products that Dr. Joel Wallach formulated at wholesale prices and receive a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. All this for only $25 plus shipping and handling. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311. Again, that's just $25 plus shipping and handling. And you'll receive the new book, Epigenetics, a free membership, and a free CD of Dead Doctors Don't Lie. Call 888-311-4311. That's 888-311-4311.
Nutritious food is real body armor. It builds muscle, burns fat, improves digestion, and feeds the entire body the nutrients it needs. Did you know the U.S. government banned the hemp plant from growing in the United States and classified it as a Schedule I drug to hide it behind the marijuana plant? People have been confused about this plant for over 80 years, and many still don't know what hemp is. So now you know hemp is not marijuana, and marijuana is not hemp. They are different varieties of the same species. HempUSA.org wants the world to know these basic facts and to help people understand that hemp protein powder is the best kept health secret you need to know about. Remember, hemp protein powder contains 53% protein, is gluten-free, anti-inflammatory, non-GMO, and is loaded with nutrients. Call 888-910-4367, 888-910-4367, and see what our powder, seeds, and oil can do for you. Only at HempUSA.org.
It's the last little bit. You're listening to the Republic of Texas Radio. I'm your host, Steve OBrien. I live in Fredericksburg, Texas. Well, actually, I live in Gillespie County, some miles outside of Fredericksburg. And well, we'd like to I like to try to keep you grounded in Texas, and I will talk about the occupied Texas, the Republic of Texas, how it exists within the occupied territory. So I'm not just going to tell you about the Republic of Texas. I'm going to tell you about the world we live in. Part of that is Texas Stories, I had to listen to AM radio this week because I couldn't find anything else I wanted to listen to on the radio. I like listening to RBN, but, sometimes that's not always possible. And I heard this little thing, right? The talking head was sitting there reading off the news. And you know how they read off the news. They say the government just released new data and unemployment is down. It's at a record level. Oh my God, this is great. He went on to proudly state that incomes are up and everything is looking good. Things are going to be better. Well, then he went to a commercial break, and this little break comes on, and they got some lady going, I work 2 jobs. My husband works 2 jobs. And we're starving. And then they go on to tell you 1 in 6 Americans are, considered starving, and the working poor. And working 4 jobs is kind of normal in our society, and things are only getting worse. This brought to you by the Ad Council. And I go, wait a minute, guys. Hold on. Talking Head said this. Ad Council said this. They're diametrically opposed. I'm confused. So when I take those kind of tidbits from, and you can find them on commercial radio, they always say one thing in the news, and then they back it with some kind of a commercial or something else. Everything's great. Everything's bad. I like to rebound those to people that I bump into, in my day-to-day life, and that little tidbit I took to the bank, literally. Well, I like to take a lot of things to the bank and, talk monetary stuff, and, they really do enjoy me going over to the bank because I'm interesting. I say funny stuff. So I told her the story. Told her the story of the talking head. I told her the story of, how the Ad Council says that, everybody's poor and broke and starving. And I asked her, which one do you believe? She said, it's the latter. Says everybody's having a hard time. Everybody's struggling to survive. And I looked over at the other tellers as they were participating in that conversation as well, with their ears kind of turned. And they looked at me, and I could see it was a look of, agreement. It made me sad. I did use that, that rebound, that thing to a couple times, throughout my days, as the week went on. And I was sitting there telling this, and everybody didn't believe that everything's getting better. So to where do we go from here, folks? I don't know. But we need to start talking. We need to keep talking. We need to tell people things are wrong. We shouldn't be killing people on a massive scale. We don't need to invade to, deposit freedom at the point of a gun and enslavement. We don't need to put in any more Federal Reserves. We don't need world banks. We don't need central banks, fiat currency, all that. Am I out of time? Oh, my God. That was just like one breath. No, I breathe too much. Hey, next week, we got a great show. Tune in. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Republic Broadcasting. Thank you, Sam, for all your work. Take care and love you guys. Till next week.
Blessing in this life. Had a more intimate connection with the spirit world. Learned as a community and equally taught every boy and girl. Life is us, my friends, we are.
Liberty is not free. Its costs are innumerable. Without monetary funding, the valiant efforts of freedom-loving Americans become diminished or outright defeated. We present a solution, the Give Me Liberty Fund. The plan is quite simple. Invite individual Americans to contribute less than $1 a day. These monetary funds are used to promote Liberty media, organizations, events, candidates, movements, and speakers. In the spirit of transparency, all expenditures are published. Patriotic business owners provide discounted products and services to Give Me Liberty Fund members. Our greatest strength is in numbers. Go to GiveMeLibertyFund.com and become part of the solution today. GiveMeLibertyFund.com. Participate in the peaceful restoration of the greatest and freest country in the world.